Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions, the worlds of pop culture, social media, sports, TV, film, everything really. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On Twitter, you know me as PD Beats. You will recognize my current guest from the Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise. We're with Jared Haibon. Jared, welcome to Popternative.
Dude, thanks for having me. Sorry it took so long to get me on this podcast. It's just been a little chaotic over the past 12 months, but I'm glad I'm here.
No, I'm glad to have you. So let's start with that then. We talked about before we kind of like recorded. I mean, it's been pretty crazy. The last maybe like 2-3 months kind of give us a little bit of perspective of what's been going on. I understand you're in LA grinding it out and everything, but it's been pretty crazy for you.
Yeah, we've just been traveling a lot, especially with the holidays because I'm from Rhode Island. She's from Virginia. So for my birthday was in mid-November, so I wanted to be home for my birthday. So we were home in Rhode Island, then we went down to Virginia for Thanksgiving, then we came back, went to Christmas, so came back to LA, then went back to Rhode Island for Christmas, then went to Virginia for New Year's, and then we've been traveling for different events in between. We've been to Vegas a couple times. We went to Miami, went to Park City, Utah for the live Bachelor premiere. So we've just been constantly traveling, which is a good thing because we keep busy and it means that we're getting work. But I'm also not I don't like flying all that much, so being at the airport all the time sucks, but it's a good problem to have.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and we're talking about a little bit, I mean, the whole news breaking out about you and Ashley, I mean, you know, starting as friends and then becoming more than friends. I mean, that was something that, I mean, the Bachelorette, Bachelor Nation, like the fans are huge and amazing fans. We'll get to that in a second, but just, I don't think you, how could you expect something like that to blow up the way it did? I mean, I'm sure you were expecting some social media traction, but was it way more than you guys thought it was going to be?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it blew up out of proportion. So I knew that once Ashley and I finally told people that we were dating, that there would be some traction to it and people would care, specifically within the Bachelor franchise. But at the end of the day, honestly, I really thought it's not going to change all that much because we are, two people that we didn't get, we haven't been on TV in a while. And, I didn't know if people were going to really care if we dated. And then as soon as we told people, we're actually dating and we're in love and things are great. We went from best friends to boyfriend, girlfriend, and then obviously fiancés. It just was a media frenzy and to the likes that I never thought I'd ever be a part of. I think I got more attention from us announcing our relationship than I ever did while on the show, which is crazy.
No, because it was kind of like a post-show thing that happened, what, and it's one of those things where that's something I've noticed though about the Bachelorette and the Bachelor though, man. I mean, it'll be like you'll do like a season, and then like 2 years will pass, and then they're still in the headlines, they're still in the tabloids, the past contestants, about their life. You still hear about them. Is that kind of a testimony to how powerful the Bachelorette and Bachelor fan base is?
Yeah, I think it's a testament to the Bachelor franchise. I also think it's a testament to social media because, now you're able to go on these shows and really kind of build your own business to a certain extent. And I think Bachelor is probably, if not one of the most popular reality shows there is on television right now. It's very, very polarizing. And so I think there's just a lot of people that care very deeply about the people that are on the show. They're invested in relationships. They're invested in these people's lives. And I think for me personally, I just got really lucky because I don't think I really did anything out of the ordinary. I mean, I didn't even sign up for the show. A friend of mine signed me up and then never thought I'd get on the show when going through casting and then ended up getting on. And then I got lucky because I had a Bachelorette that took a liking to me and made it pretty far. And then went on Paradise, met Ashley. And then, that was 2.5 years of very up and, a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And then finally to us getting together and getting engaged. So it's been certainly a crazy couple of years that will be really cool because I think it'll be all climaxing at the wedding, which is pretty cool, which we're currently planning right now.
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We're super excited. So We've been going venue shopping. We finally got a venue, got a date. So now we're going through the guest list, doing that whole kit and caboodle. And so we're getting married in Rhode Island, which is really exciting, my home state. So should be a good year, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
I remember we were talking about like JJ Lane. I remember like he was at like Tanner J's wedding, and I remember I think they had like Seal perform at the wedding.
Yeah.
Were you there?
Yeah, so I was there as well, and they had Seal perform their first song, and then they had Matt Nathanson play a song while Jade was walking down the aisle.
Oh, how are you guys gonna top that?
I don't think we're gonna top that. We're just doing our own thing. The great thing is we're gonna have a lot of our friends from Bachelor family, both in front of the camera and behind the camera there, because it was such a big part of our life, and obviously my family and her family and our close friends. So it'll be a really great intimate moment for all of us, and hopefully just a lot of fun.
No, absolutely. How familiar were you with The Bachelorette prior to going on the show? Did you watch it? Did you have friends that watch it? Did your family know about it? Or was it completely like you didn't know anything about it?
I knew of it. I never watched it. The only thing I ever saw was a wedding special. This was probably like 6 years ago or something. It was Sean Lowe's and Catherine's wedding special. And the only reason I saw it is because my friend Crystal, who actually was the one that ended up signing me up for the show, we were all hanging out at her place, and there was like 8 of us, and she was like dying because she wanted to watch this wedding special about this bachelor couple that was getting married. And so I said, all right, you can watch it if you let us all just roast it. So she's watching Sean and Catherine get married, and then I am as well. This was probably like 2 or 3 years before I ended up going on the show. Never even had an idea that I would ever be on the show. Sitting on my couch, just roasting The Bachelor. Oh, it's fake, it's overhyped, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, 5-6 years later, I end up being in a quote unquote bachelor relationship. So that came full circle. So I knew of it, like I knew that the show existed, but I never watched it. And so once I finally got a phone call, it was funny because my friend Crystal signed me up, and then I got a phone call from LA. And at the time, I was living in Rhode Island, born and raised there. And so I saw an LA area code, and I was like, I don't know anybody from LA. I'm not picking this up. So I missed the call, and then they left a voicemail. I didn't check my voicemail. And then 5 minutes later, I checked my phone, and my friend Crystal was texting me and said, hey, The Bachelor just called me. I signed you up. They're trying to contact you. Call them back right now. So, of course, I listened to the voicemail, and it's like, hi, this is ABC's The Bachelorette. We're looking for Jared. Want to know if you'd be interested in casting, blah, 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 blah. So, obviously, I immediately called them back and then start going through this casting process. And once I started going through the casting process, I said, all right, well, I should probably try to familiarize myself with the show just in case I get on. And so my first season that I ever watched was Chris Soule's season, who was The Bachelor before my season. And so I watched one season of The Bachelor. Oh, dropped my phone.
No problem.
So I watched one season of The Bachelor and a couple episodes of the Bachelorette that was before me, which was Andy Dorfman's season, just to try to get myself familiarized with, okay, well, is the format the same? Is The Bachelor, The Bachelorette different? And then that was really it. And then I went into Paradise like an idiot because I never watched an episode of Bachelor in Paradise before that. And so I kind of went in blind, but it worked out. But no, I didn't know the show that well.
Absolutely. We're going to get into your Patriots soon. I know you're itching to talk about it, and I feel like we have to. But prior to that, we've had several people from The Bachelorette on the show before. Chase has been on, JJ, Clint, Ben Zorn. Chase was talking about how they asked him, and Ben too, like they were asked to be the Bachelor, and then it just ended up not happening. Now, this is like a 2-part question for you, Jared. Question 1, did they ever ask you to be the Bachelor? And question 2, were you ever like interested in the idea of being the Bachelor?
Well, I think to answer the second part, of course I was interested in being the Bachelor. I think anybody who says they're not at least intrigued or interested in the idea of being the lead is a liar. I mean, come on now. But so the first question, so I was never formally asked, but I remember when I left my first season of Paradise, I was on The Bachelorette and then Bachelor in Paradise, and I was leaving Bachelor in Paradise. And then I was talking to a producer who's pretty high up, and he said, if there's, something available, that is going to happen in a couple months that would bring you back into this, franchise. Would you be interested in doing it? And that's when I said, of course I'd be interested. He was like, okay. And then we talked a little bit about it, and then that was really it. And then, I talked to the producers almost every day for a few months after that, but they never asked me if I'd be interested in being a Bachelor. It was just more so like, oh, how's life? How are you doing? You still single? Blah, 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 dumb stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I was never formally asked. The only thing I ever got to was, would you be interested in being the Bachelor? That was really it.
For sure. No, absolutely. And I think it's just interesting to kind of see how they kind of go back to previous cast members and I don't know, I wasn't really familiar with the show back in the day, but it seems that the last 10 years they kind of not recycle, but they go back to previous episodes, finalists and everything, and that's what they use for Bachelorette, Bachelor episodes. The previous seasons they use reoccurring people. Do you think that also has to do with the fact that they already have kind of a fan base that they could use?
Oh yeah, totally. I think as an audience, people get attached to certain personalities and characters, and they want to see these people more on their television screen. That's why Bachelor in Paradise, for a multitude of reasons, Bachelor in Paradise is successful. But one of the reasons as well is because, we've already been introduced to a lot of these people. So we have an idea of who they are, and then we want to see more of them. And so it's very similar with choosing who the lead is. You want to choose someone that's popular, that people want to see more of. And if you choose from previous seasons, there's already an investment into that person because they saw them go through either the Bachelorette or the Bachelor, and obviously ended up not finding love. And so I think that's why they do it. And it's pretty smart, if I'm being honest, because it just keeps the train rolling. Because what happens on night one? Everybody talks about, well, who do you think has potentially, to be the next Bachelor, Bachelorette? And so it keeps the intrigue going.
No, absolutely. All right, man. Talk about it. The Patriots. You want it to happen. I feel, yeah, of course you want it to happen. And that was a stupid saying. But people they can feel it. I know other friends that are Pats fans. They're feeling it, man.
Well, I think what's different about this Patriots team than in years past is they're playing with a chip on their shoulders. I don't know if you heard Brady coming off the field after they beat LA. I mean, they're still San Diego, but the Chargers. And he was like, I know everybody thinks we suck and we can't win games. And then they kind of reiterated that, and Belichick was Belichick's always pissy in his press conference, but he was a little bit more pissy in his press conference this time. And Brady said his comment in his press conference saying, I just like to win. And it seems like they're playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulders, which is great because especially now they're going on the road in KC, they're going to need to play with edge if they got a chance to win that game.
And it's the question, will Andy Reid finally beat the Patriots?
Well, Andy Reid's beaten the Patriots before, so he beat them.
But it's hard for him to do it.
Totally. Well, he beat them in the home opener in 2017 when they came into Foxborough and beat them. But the problem Andy Reid's a good coach, but the problem with Andy Reid is that he's just a horrible time clock manager. It just seems like, if they're down by 2 scores, they're not going no huddle. They're, taking the full 40-second play clock. And I remember it was when KC played New England in 2015 in the divisional round, KC was down by 14 points with 7 minutes to go. So obviously you're thinking, okay, no hurry. You got to score quick, try to get the ball back, score again, tie the game. And my God, Alex Smith was lining up. It was, they'd be checking it down 6 yards, huddling up. And it was like, move your ass. And Andy Reid did the same thing in the 2004 Super Bowl when he was the head coach of the Eagles. And so he's just got to get over that hump. I don't know what it is about Andy Reid and the clock, but they're not friends. And he always screws it up, whether Casey has the lead or not.
No, we'll see what happens. It's one of those things where I see it every Sunday for the last couple of weeks, especially with the playoffs. It's my feeds are taken over by NFL. It's not even close. And I'm in Canada, hockey is our thing, right? But
of course.
It's not even close. Is there a big I know a lot of you are huge football fans, JJ Lane from being a Broncos fan. Is that do you feel football was something as well that kept kind of the bond going specifically, or sports in general, but between a lot of the guys on the show?
Totally. I think sports bonds a lot of guys together, would be on show or off show. But it was cool, especially meeting guys in this Bachelor franchise and walking in. You don't know what the hell you're walking into. You don't know if the guys are going to suck, if they're just here to stir the pot. And so it's cool talking to these guys and meeting Tanner, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm a Chiefs fan. And then meeting JJ and Ben Higgins fans. And so it was cool. Yeah, it definitely keeps the bond going, especially so Tanner and I are really good buddies now. So he's a Chiefs fan and I'm Pat's fan.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It should be a cool week.
That's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be watching my phone for that. So you guys better not disappoint. We'll
definitely be posting slides because we're gonna be watching the game together. So we'll be sure to be posting on Instagram our reactions. But I'm excited, man. I mean, here's the cool thing about this week for a Patriots fan, at least, is that this is the first time that we're not favored to win a playoff game. I think since like 2013.
So the pressure's on the Chiefs.
Oh, well, the pressure is definitely on the Chiefs. And I'm not saying nobody's picking the Patriots, but the fact is more people are going to pick KC, and KC is favored to win this game. And so the Patriots are playing with the chip on their shoulder, and they're not wrong when they say people are betting against them because the Chiefs are favored. So I like the edge that they're going into this game. The problem is they've sucked all year on the road. So, like, the last time we saw them play on the road was in Pittsburgh, where they completely laid an egg. So that makes me nervous because I just don't know what team we're getting. Are we getting the team from last week that absolutely dominated the Chargers from start to finish? Or are we going to get, the team that went down to Miami and gave up an 80-yard touchdown pass on the last play of the game? So who knows, man? But it should be a great game, and the weather's going to play a huge factor. I heard it's supposed to be like, at kickoff, like 6 degrees or something crazy like that.
Wow. No, it's gonna be amazing. That's amazing. No, I mean, when we finally had decided we're gonna have you on, I was like seeing all your posts and everything. I was like, man, we gotta put some we'll talk on obviously Bachelorette, but we have to put some Patriots talk in there. I mean,
oh, totally. Yeah, I talk anything because I'm a homer, so I'm Sox, Patriots, Celtics, Bruins. So what part of Canada are you?
So I am in Ottawa, Ontario.
Okay.
And I'm the nation's capital. And I'm originally from Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
So you a Canadiens fan or are you a Senators fan?
I'm an Ottawa Senators fan.
All right, there we go.
And the Ottawa Senators. And I was actually just in Boston. Actually, we went on a trip in the summer. Boston is a great city, man. Love it.
Awesome. It's like a cleaner, smaller version of New York, and I really like that.
No, it's amazing, and sports. I'm a big sport. Like hockey's my favorite sport, but I love all sports, man. Like it's one of those things. I mean, big basketball fan, so like I'm just pumped for March, especially. Like I don't know if you follow that a little bit, but
yeah,
Duke lost. Well, I'm a big Raptors fan, but Duke just lost to Syracuse, who's unranked. I don't know if you saw that in college hoops. That's insane.
Yeah, that is pretty insane. I'm not a huge college hoops guy until I get some March Madness, but I do follow the NBA. Did you see that your Raptors just lost in Boston tonight?
Yes, I did. I did see
that.
You know what? As soon as you asked me if I was a Raptors fan, I was like, he's going to bring it up.
Get the hell out of here. I was in Boston. Tough game. You guys are still in first place by a pretty, not wide margin, but
they were talking about that game for a while, though. And they were talking about how this specific game was going to be like a good one because of just implications and just how both teams have been playing.
Totally. It was like for a game being in January, it was as close to a must win for the Celtics as it possibly could be because they're on the verge of if they lost this game or got blown out by Toronto in Boston tonight, watch out because it's been a rough season.
Absolutely, man. I feel like me and you could talk sports for hours. This is insane.
Totally.
But I actually did before we wrap up, I actually did have another kind of Bachelorette question. I mean, the industry's full of people that think they fans that know everything. They're like, oh, I know Jared. I know what he went through on the show. I know how it works. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions in the industry, right? Like people think they know everything about kind of what you went through on the show, how you got chosen. People think they know everything, but they don't. Like people are completely wrong about something. So what are some of the misconceptions about being on The Bachelorette and The Bachelor? Like things where people say, oh, it's like this, right? You're like, nope, it's not like that at all.
I mean, obviously, first and foremost, people who say it's scripted are wrong. Mm-hmm. It's the complete opposite of being scripted. It's very real. And then, I mean, it's, has elements of production, and any television show does, but it's, those feelings, those moments are very real. And the people in the show are very real as well. And then I'd also say the alcohol is far overblown. Like, people always say, like, oh, everybody's drunk on the show. And it's like, no, they're really not. There's really not that much alcohol going around, especially after the incident that happened a couple of years ago down in Paradise. They have like a 2-drink maximum now. Mm-hmm. And so there's, for example, everybody thought Ashley was always drunk on the show because she should always be emotional and crying. And Ashley doesn't drink. So it was like, no, it's just some people are emotional. Some people cry. Some people get a little crazy. What other misconceptions? I think, to bounce off the idea of the show being like scripted, a lot of people say that like people go on there and like cause drama in their plants, which is completely fabricated as well. Because if you put 25 people under one roof, all trying to go after the same person, like, yeah, tension's going to build, emotion's going to get crazy. And then, drama will ensue because it's just the natural course of the way humans react to things. And then is there another misconception? I'm trying to think. I think another misconception is that everybody sleeps together in the fantasy suite. That's another big misconception.
Yeah, you just got to throw that in there, eh?
Totally. I bet 80% of the people that go to the fantasy suite don't have sex.
Wow.
I think that's
a hot take, man.
That's a hot take. I bet, because like you got to think that the Bachelor, the Bachelorette is going to a fantasy suite with 3 different people, and they probably already have a pretty good idea of who they're going to choose at that point. And I would be willing to bet that a high amount of people that go into that fantasy suite don't actually end up hooking up.
And how much of that date food is actually eaten? Probably none of it. You guys go on these dates. Man. You have this amazing food. You're talking. It's amazing steaks right there. Like, eat the food.
I know. It's so tough, though. But
like, Napoleon. Really... Remember that movie, Napoleon Dynamite?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like, Tina, eat the food. Eat it. Just eat the steak, man.
Keep dropping my phone. No, I know. Tina, eat the goddamn food. A lot of the food gets eaten, but it gets eaten off camera.
Okay, because you don't see it. Because, like... Yeah, you definitely don't see it.
No, because it's just, it would be a bad look. It's not that appealing to watch somebody eat on TV. So that, production's just trying to help you out so you don't look that gross.
No, I know.
Still chewing while trying to talk. So, but we usually, they usually, a little tidbit or a little fact is that they usually feed you before you go on the date. Oh. So you're not even hungry. And then you show up and there's a plate of food. And so... I tried to eat as much as I could. I would always do because they would, I don't know what they would do with the food afterwards. But
because that's something when I asked Chase about the misconceptions, he brought up the food, and then I was like, man, that's so true. He's like, everyone talks about. I got like I'd go on a date and like people would tweet out like, why aren't you eating? Like you're just talking the whole time.
Yeah, I mean that's what they want. Nobody wants to see us eat. They want to see us talk.
No, absolutely. I think we'll wrap up. But Jared, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so happy we're able to finally get this done, man.
Dude, same here, brother. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I hope your Raptors do well, but not too well in the East. And thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. Where can people follow you on social media, man? Where can they keep up?
Yeah, totally. So on Twitter, it's at Haibon_Jared. And then on Instagram, it's at Jared Haibon. So you can follow me. It's going to be a lot of posting about Boston sports. And if you follow me within the next week or so, it's definitely going to be a lot of posting about the New England Patriots. But it's cool, man. So, yeah, right now, Ashley and I are in LA doing our thing, just working as much as we can. And yeah, doing the damn thing, as Becca would say.
Absolutely, man. Well, seriously, all the best to you and Ashley. See if the Patriots could do it. And no, thanks again, man. I appreciate it.
All right, Peter. I'll see you later, bud.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.